Out here, and like I said, the question isn't. It's not so black and white.
Now, on the other token, we talk about morality. What do we feel morally about abortion?
I believe it's a woman's right to do what she chooses to do. I don't feel like
that a woman should have multiple abortions because it does take a toll on your body.
And your body can only stand but so much medically.
Someone there to help me raise this child. The man's not there.
And then when I got home that night, I couldn't stop crying.
10, the woman basically is a parent that puts in a lot and invests a lot into this individual. Don't get me wrong, daddies are there.
I don't find it a question of pro-life or pro-choice. I'm pro-life because I don't necessarily believe in abortion. But I'm aware that I don't have a choice in the matter, and I believe that women should have the choice to have abortions or not.
Growing up, the word abortion really didn't have a meaning because I didn't know what it was. Because back then, women didn't have those alternatives. They had larger families because there was no birth control. And compared to today, where there is, I feel that abortion, to me personally, is a woman's right to choose. However, they have to be educated on what an abortion does to your body, what an abortion does to your family, and what abortion does to you mentally, because it does take a toll.
What you have to go through to have an abortion, it's hard for me to believe that a woman would use birth control. I mean, use abortion as a form of birth control. I think it's easier to get the pill or buy a condom than, use abortion.
I do believe some young women may use abortion as a means of birth control. My reasons for believing that is because they may be ignorant to actually what abortion is, like in depth of how, the toll it can take on you long term, or, I know it's different situations for different people, but, abortion can definitely lead to other complications down the road, and not for everyone, but definitely for some. And I know continuous abortions cannot be healthy for young women, any women, period, but more so young women because their bodies are not fully developed.
I am for abortion. I believe that I'm completely pro-choice, and I believe that a woman's body and what happens to it is her decision.
Well, I believe that it's every woman's right to choose. I think that my personal view is that a woman decides what is best for her. So whether it is, I cannot answer for sure if I am for or against abortion.
I'm pro-choice. I believe it's a woman's right to do what she chooses to do. I don't feel like I should have any impact on a woman's decision.
As far as my generation, I think that abortion is more susceptible to teenagers leaning towards getting them. But I feel that before abortions, the Plan B pill is used far more out of content, because before it gets to abortion, I think everybody just has it in their mind, oh, I can just take Plan B. But little do they know that little pill, if it has the ability to completely terminate a pregnancy, it's ultimately doing things to the inside of your body as well. So I think that Plan B is just I wouldn't say safer way of abortion, but it has the same effects as an abortion. So I think that people are more careless with birth control and Plan B, but not so far as abortion.
Regarding whether a man should have a say in whether a woman should have an abortion or not, that goes back to my whole belief and my whole argument between pro-life and pro-choice, because while I as a man can believe that I don't believe in abortions, I can't ever be faced with that choice of whether I'm going to have an abortion or not. So I'd have to say that even there's a whole other argument of whether women are a man's property and should be thought of in that way, that a man should be able to say whether they can have an abortion. Ultimately, my answer is no. A man shouldn't have any kind of say in what a woman does with her body. But that's why I feel I have to be pro-choice.
Men having a voice. I believe that the final decision does come down to the woman, but a couple, basically a couple, your significant other, your husband, your wife, whoever it is, I think there should be a sit-down moment and to discuss the pros and the cons, discuss my feelings, your feelings, how would it affect us emotionally, financially, where we are in life right now, and where we want to go, where we see ourselves 5-10 years from now, if a baby or another individual actually would fit into that. All that should be discussed between partners. But again, the final decision comes down to the woman. Why I'm saying this is because everybody knows that from the ages of 0 to 5 or even 10, the woman basically is the parent that puts in a lot and invests a lot into this individual. Don't get me wrong, daddies are there, but mommies are the ones that basically is the face, the advocate, the everything for this individual. And it does take toll on you physically, mentally. It's basically an investment, time, energy. So I think a woman's say should be the final say.
I do feel that women use abortion as a form of birth control. Not all women. Some women, they don't have, I don't want to say the education when it comes to sex ed, but they don't feel that they should make their mates use condoms, or they don't feel they should use some sort of protection, birth control, or anything like that. So that's the reason that some women feel it's just easier to go get an abortion to term a pregnancy than to just say, you know what, this is my body, let me make a decision, and keep in mind condoms and birth control pills and other forms of contraception.
Okay, do I think children now today are educated and have an abortion? I mean, that depends, because certain areas you have better schools that would educate the children, and in other areas you wouldn't have that. You have parents that would talk to their children about abortion, and then you have parents that won't. So it depends. I personally believe that all children at age of 10 and up should have that knowledge of what an abortion is, and I think parents should talk to their children more. But you have to remember, from my era, parents didn't talk about their children about sex. So a lot of girls got out there and they got pregnant, and they didn't even know that what it was. They didn't know what menstruation was. They didn't know a lot of things. But today, parents are more open with their children. But again, they don't discuss these things with their children. And like I said before, it depends on the schools, whether it's a better school or a different school. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's like a double-sided sword with that question. So I really can't say. That's just my opinion. I do not think they're educated enough.
I do feel a man should take part in a woman's decision, in his woman's decision to have an abortion or not. If they are in a committed relationship or together, they are in this together. It shouldn't be a one-part decision. Although, again, it is a woman's ultimate decision, but I do feel he should have some type of say in it, definitely.
I believe that the media has a great impact on teenagers in this society as far as sexual exploration goes, merely because it could be something so simple as a poster for a clothing line, and the female will have on a bikini or something so revealing, and teenagers will look at that and say, I want to be that girl, or I want that, and it just portrays a negative image of them. But because it's what society accepts and what society has become, I think that it's almost like a norm. But I think that it does have a negative effect on teenagers in our society, females especially.
I do not think the government should regulate how many abortions a woman should have. I think that should be something that is handled by the medical profession. I think a woman's body, what happens to it is her choice, and your body can only stand but so much medically, and it should be something that's regulated by a medical profession. Unfortunately, some women don't realize your body can only stand 3, maybe 4 abortions. It's too much stress on the body, too much pulling on the uterus and the womb. Therefore, it should be something that's regulated by the medical profession and not the government.
I don't feel the government should be involved in the question of abortion to begin with, so I don't think that the government should regulate anything that has to do with abortion.
I do not think that the government should regulate how many abortions a woman should have. However, I don't feel that a woman should have multiple abortions, because it does take a toll on your body, mentally and physical. But the decision is the woman's, not the government.
Should abortion be regulated by the law? I honestly think yes. It is a health hazard. If that you're using abortion as a form of birth control, you can pay the price. I believe 3, 4, 5 abortions that could be really detrimental to your health. It should be regulated both on state and federal level, and if it is that there's some form of agency that could actually keep track of an individual and give some type of education as the risk of having multiple abortions within a certain time frame, that would be helpful. Again, everything that we do in life basically could be altered by educating. So if for some reason there are multiple abortions being used as a form of birth control, agencies could actually use education as a tool to help fight back.
Well, the role that this debate plays in politics right now is part of a larger issue, and it's moving away from this whole idea that everything that has to do with politics today, it has to do with the financial crisis. There are moral issues in politics that have to be addressed, and right now in election time, it's a good time to bring it up because the Republicans have no way of winning, especially with the candidates that they have put forth. So it's good to see that these things are coming up again, because it was getting kind of scary watching this whole thing about where we were 4 years ago and where we are now. I mean, we're doing a lot better now, and just the fact that they're able to, this argument, the argument with abortion, has much to play with even the argument about gay rights. It's an argument about how much the government needs to be involved in people's everyday lives. And it's something that we should always be talking about, and it's what the democracy of the United States is built on.